on the corner of Chive Avenue and Daisy Lane, where the chives do not blossom and the daisies never dance. There was a street lantern that told the tale of the wayward bunny witch. This is part 1 of a 2-part series. Today I show you how to make a miniature lantern. In part 2, I show you how to make the stand so you can have a street lamp. This is CertainlyCaroline with more polymer clay fairy tale nonsense. I want to keep this lantern to a certain size, so I draw out the template on graph paper. Street lanterns tend to run pretty big, which actually works well for me because I was having a hard time finding a tiny battery-operated light for the lamp. I did find one eventually, but it's not as tiny as I really wanted, so it works for me that in real life, street lamps tend to be on the bigger side. I'm using cardboard from a gift box, but cereal box cardboard would work just as well. And this one is cute cereal, which is the best kind. I trace my template onto the cardboard and cut it out. Using a needle tool, I score the cardboard first, then I use a really sharp X-Acto to cut out the lamp windows. I need the windows to bend up, so I score the shape of a square on the bottom. And now I file the insides of the windows to make sure that there isn't any little clumps of cardboard and to kind of refine it, make it look neater. I'm using gray acrylic paint and getting the inside of the windows first, and then painting everything else. Plastic packaging from a strawberry container will work perfectly for the windows of the lantern. I cut the windows to size and then use Fabrifix to glue the windows onto their frames. A number of glues would work for this project. For instance, tacky glue would work just as well. I run a strip of glue on the outside edge of each window. Carefully bring it all together and hold it for a few seconds. Once the glue is dried, you can easily rub off any excess glue with your fingers. I decided to remove the original lid and make a wider one instead. I wanted the lid to hang over the glass part a little bit, or plastic. I reinforced the structure with lots of glue on the inside. I kind of glopped it on here, but I wasn't afraid it would look bad because I knew it was on the inside, you wouldn't be able to see it, and because I was planning on painting the glue anyway. To make the new lid, I scored cardboard with a needle tool first and cut it out. I used a small hole punch to cut a little hole, and I inserted a paper fastener, and this will be for the lid to have the handle catch on something. I bored 2 holes in the lid and thread some floral wire through the holes. I'm using this wire as a way to close the lid and to keep it shut or open as I please. I twisted the wire around itself, fit it on the paper bracket, and trimmed it down. Next, I glued some lacy fabric trimming around the top of the lantern. The trimming will also work as the hinge. I just glue a wider piece of the trim to the inside of the lantern with half of it peeking out, unglued. Then I glue another piece of the same width to the outside of the lantern. I get some glue on the trimming and then add the lid. That actually worked pretty well. Now to embellish the lid. I shall use that lovely gift box cardboard and make my cone. I figure since it's not rocket science, I will just kind of eyeball it. If I were building a rocket, eyeballing it would not be a good idea. DIY rocket science. Kind of like DIY heart surgery. DIY heart surgery! Don't spend thousands when you can do it at home. These are the kind of jokes that happen when I've had too much coffee and not enough food. Actual food, not just coffee, actual food. Quit with the coffee already, Carrie. I attach a decorative metal ring to wire and pull it through the cone, and then secure it with glue on the inside of the cone. I realized after I made the lid that I needed a hole in it in order to fit the light bulb properly, so I do apologize for the "my hamster was hungry and ate this lid" look. Then I glued some cotton batting around the hole and filed it into shape, so the bulb would be snug and not slip around. Now my bulb is nice and snug and comfy. I cut some fabric to fit the lid, made 2 cuts for the hole, and glued it to the underside of the lid. The bulb fits nicely in the hole, it opens and closes nicely, and it lights up just the way I wanted. I paint the top part of the lid and wait for it to dry. Then I add a good amount of glue and secure the cone to the lid. Time for embellishments. This thing is looking really weird right now, but it is definitely going to look better after we get it all painted, so let's do that. So I'm not worried about getting the paint on the plastic because it comes off of the plastic very easily. I let the gray dry. And now I'm going to brush over the gray with some white paint. And there's just a little bit of paint on my brush. It's called dry brushing. Shabby chicers do it all the time. It's also a great technique to give things a dull metallic look, which is what I want this lantern to look like. Dull, metallic, old, really cool, spooky, all that good stuff. To make Little Miss Ladybug, I used a blob of red polymer clay and shaped it into a ladybug shape with my fingers and my wooden tool. Made a slit about halfway through it with my dental tool and rounded it with my rubber-tipped tool and my fingers. I cut a small V shape in the back and a larger one in the front. I squished a little ball of black clay onto the front of Little Miss Ladybug and then made another smaller ball of clay and squished it in front of the first one. If you look online at ladybugs, you'll notice that they basically have 2 front parts to their heads. I don't know what to call the middle section. Maybe it's their neck? No, I don't think it's their neck. And then I put a little bit of black at the end. You could also paint that part on if you wanted. And I shaped her a little better with my wooden tool. Took her off with my long blade and baked her. Then I sanded it. Painted on her spots with black acrylic paint. Ladybugs have little dots of white on their quote-unquote necks. I was just looking at ladybug images on the internet. I used triple thick gloss varnish to finish the ladybug. And there she is. I used Fabri-Tac glue to secure her to my lantern. I found some little metal corner pieces that were just kind of hanging around my studio, so decided to use them. And then I just glued them on and painted the glue. And yeah, I like how it turned out. In part 2, I cover how to make the stand so you can have a street lamp. Hey guys, if you liked this video, please click that like button, and if you haven't already, please subscribe and hit that bell icon, and you can watch more of this strange stuff that I do. I don't know, it's pretty weird, but I love having you guys around and we can do this weird stuff together, and it's a lot of fun.